In the last few years, we've seen a lot of new parents with young children resonating with Charlotte Mason's approach to education. And of course, families with multiple kids often have a toddler in the mix. Many of us have heard or read about how Charlotte Mason didn't start formal lessons until around age 6. And this raises the question, does she have any insight for our young children? What might a relational education look like before age 6? I'm Carrie Forney, and I serve as a board member and an Alvieri team member here at the Charlotte Mason Institute. But before working with CMI, I was a homeschool educator using Charlotte Mason's methods, and I had my first daughter in 1997, and then 4 more kids over the next 10 years. I found a Charlotte Mason study group in my area and worked to start applying her principles in my parenting and schooling as I homeschooled my children through high school. That study group is still meeting, and I enjoy seeing and discussing the relevance of Charlotte Mason's ideas across many different age groups. I think it's particularly important to talk about Charlotte Mason's insights for our younger children, because these early years can set the tone for years to come. While it's true that Charlotte Mason didn't recommend starting formal lessons until around age 6, she actually wrote quite a bit about the early years. She devotes many pages in her first volume, Home Education, to it, so she obviously thought it was a very important time. During the first 6 years of their life, children are taking in vast amounts of information, using all their senses, and are developing in multiple ways. While there may not be lessons in the formal sense, it's still a very intentional time. Charlotte Mason believed that education is an atmosphere, a discipline, and a life. So let's talk about some practical ways you can start cultivating this relational education with your young kids. Charlotte talks about the importance of spending time outdoors. One of my favorite quotes talks about eating meals out of doors. She says, "Meals taken al fresco, or in the open air, are usually joyous, and there is nothing like gladness for converting meat and drink into healthy blood and tissue. All the time, too, the children are storing up memories of a happy childhood. 50 years hence, they will see the shadows of the boughs making patterns on the white tablecloth, and sunshine, children's laughter, hum of bees, and scent of flowers are being bottled up for after refreshment." So meals, running, playing, climbing trees, discovering the wonders of the outside world are all wonderful ways to spend your days. If your oldest is still young, these early years can also be a great time to focus on your own Charlotte Mason education through reading Mason's volumes and other books and discovering wonders outdoors for yourself. Charlotte mentions some fun activities that are helpful for when the children need a little direction on what else to do outside. She describes sending them off to find out all they can about a certain area nearby. Maybe it's a creek or a group of trees, or maybe a building or house, or area of flowers or crops, or an outcropping of rock. The children run off and observe and take in the scene, and then come back and describe it to you as best they can. If things are hazy, they can go back and look again and come back to tell you more. Then you can go with them and see for yourself what was being described. It's a game for the kids, but so many wonderful things are happening in the experience. Their powers of expression and abilities to take in a mental picture grow bit by bit. Now, cracks in city sidewalks, window boxes, or an empty lot work just as well for finding God's creation out of doors. So don't let your location deter you. The weather, the wind, the clouds, the birds, squirrels, spiders, ants, to name a few, are found almost everywhere. And another wonderful activity to start with young children is a book of firsts. As you observe the firsts of each season, such as the first snowfall or the first robin in the spring, maybe the first bud opening on a tree or the first thunderstorm of the rainy season, the first leaf changing color, the first bee, the first hummingbird. Whatever might be happening throughout the seasons where you live, jot it down in a notebook by date. Then, as the years go by, you can compare the timing of events and have the joyful anticipation of when to look for old friends. You and the children will observe more and more as you look for things happening for the first time. As with so many things in a relational education, you build routines of living that will serve you and others for a lifetime. A few more specific ideas might be activities such as starting to teach a child how to put away their toys, or how to play quietly by themselves for short periods of time, or starting a few age-appropriate chores around the house. Slow and steady work in these areas build up a lifetime of helpful habits. You can sing songs and learn rhymes with them, cook and clean with them, put up a bird feeder and learn bird names and songs, expose your child to other languages, visit an art museum or a local garden or arboretum, read living books aloud daily and discuss the illustrations. These are all just a few ideas. It's valuable work to establish good habits of obedience and cleanliness and general routines and rhythms for your days, and to work on cultivating your relationship with your child. Be curious about them, play with them, learn with them, and enjoy them. All this will lay the groundwork for schooling more formally with peace and joy. All of these ideas can be applied too when there are older children in the home doing formal lessons. Older siblings can have a time in their day when they do some of these things with a younger sibling. Relationships can be built across the family and great memories are made as they serve their younger siblings. Many of these activities are valuable for young and old together. As well, for some of you, these things might all be new and sound overwhelming. Maybe your own childhood did not include any of these things. It's okay. You as a person will grow along with your children. Pick one thing to begin with. Then slowly you can add more as you gain confidence and comfort. But I hope this gives you a vision of how to start or continue to practice a relational education with your children in these early years. If you're an Alveary member, you can also look at our Before Age 6 guide, which gives even more suggestions and activities for young children. We hope you find it as helpful as you seek to love, know, instruct, guide, and respect the personhood of these little ones. I'll end with a quote I read recently by Annis Duff in her book, Bequest of Wings. It's probably just as well that there is no specified training for parenthood beyond just living. There is no job in the world where rules are so likely to be a delusion and a snare. For every child is different from every other child in potentialities, disposition, and temperament, and needs his own special kind of parents. But giving the very best of ourselves always, subject of course to the inevitable hindering of fatigue and the inadequacy of 24 hours of any day's affairs, has proved an investment that yields rich dividends in fun and companionship, and the satisfaction of watching sturdy growth. I love how so many things in this quote resonate with what Charlotte Mason said about each child and parent being unique people, how relationships are the key, how growth is the goal, and how time spent now while they are young is an investment for all of life.